Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm working on project number 1 in the manual titled Speeches by Management. It's a good manual, one you might want to check out, and it's a briefing. And my briefing today is for refuge managers. So you're all refuge managers out in the field at one of our, Lindsay, could you please, let's get the PowerPoint going, because the managers like to use PowerPoint. Your managers out at one of the 655 national wildlife refuges in the system. I'm here to talk about the refuge annual performance plan. You guys, every year you get the data call from headquarters and you start collecting information on about 55 measures. Everything from the total number of visitors to your refuge to the amount of wetland acres that you've restored to the refuge. This is a very labor-intensive data call, and it's time-consuming. And the reason I'm here today to talk to you is because this information is valuable when it reaches the headquarters. It's used to justify our budget appropriation from Congress, but what I understand is that it's not being used by the field. And I'd like to change that. And I'm going to show you a few quick examples that I hope will pique your interest in this very easy-to-use and query database. Next. So this is that data, and again, about 55 measures. Each of those rows is a national wildlife refuge. There's streams of information that's generated at great expense. Of course, down at the bottom, it's rolled up into a regional level, and then a national level. So for all those measures, the number of fishermen, the number of hunters, the numbers of acres of invasive species control, you can query this at your local station, your refuge, the region, or the nation. One of our core missions is migratory bird conservation. We spend a lot of time restoring habitats so that we can produce this product for the American people. Thousands, millions of migratory birds out on these wetlands. And this is very expensive work. It's in this time of budget reductions, we've lost 20% of our workforce in the last 10 years. We're still doing this. This is the core product that we're delivering, but we're doing less of it. Next slide, please. Did you know that in the last 6 years, the number of wetland acres we restored has dropped in this region, California, Nevada, and the Klamath Basin of Oregon? It's dropped by over 50%. And so this is the most important thing we're doing, but regionally, it's dropped by 50%. So this might, I would ask you, when you go back to your station tonight, to check your data and see if you've been hitting your restoration targets. That's the first example. The next one is invasive species management. A very costly endeavor out there. This is one of our personnel standing, Melinda Nunes, down in the Central Valley of California. She's standing out in a field of Russian knapweed. And as you can see, it's taking over the whole area. A native habitat that would have been useful to wildlife is being dominated by an invasive species. And this is important to us, right? We look at the data from 2008 to the present, what do we see? That the number, despite this huge, colossal effort and expenditure and prioritization, the number of acres of invasive species is actually increasing. So maybe we need to do something different out on the landscape. A huge effort has not stemmed the tide of this invader. Next. Let's turn to public use. What are our visitors doing? Of course, they can do. We prioritize 6 different types of public activities: hunting, fishing, environmental education, interpretation, photography, and wildlife observation. Interestingly, although hunting and fishing are what mainly we spend our funds on, if you look at this data, you'll find out that 96% of our visitors do not go to the refuges to hunt and fish. They go for things like photography, to observe wildlife. So here's what you can do. With a simple query, you could look at your number of photography participants. Let's say you're at the San Luis National Wildlife Refuge, and you want to compare yourself to the regional total. You can do it in about 30 seconds with a custom report that I'm going to show you how to do in the next webinar. So if you look at this data, what you'll see is that although the number of photography participants has increased by 86% in the region over the last 10 years, the number of photography participants has actually dropped at your refuge. So I would ask you to examine your management. Maybe you don't have the kinds of amenities that these photographers need out there, and you need to jump on this bandwagon, because when these people go out there, they take lots of pictures with their cell phones, they're using social media to chat with all their friends about the good work that we're doing, and you as managers might want to consider this use of a database to inform your management. So with those examples, I hope I've piqued your interest in the Refuge Annual Performance Plan data, how you can use it at your station, not simply go to the extent of gathering it, sending it on to Washington, and forgetting it. And I really appreciate your feedback at this point. I would ask if there are any questions from the audience.
I'm not always inclined to query databases because I feel like it might be difficult. Is this difficult?
No, it's very easy. My next webinar will show you how you can do custom reporting, and I'm always ready to help out. So if you have a particular measure that you're interested in, just send me what you want, and I will pop you back a response within about 45 minutes.
Can you compare different refuges to each other? So like the San Luis National Wildlife Refuge, you can compare it to the total, but can you compare it to other ones, like the Sacramento one?
Yes, yes, you can. You can actually query all the refuges in a region together, or just select individual ones, or do all 655. Particularly ambitious. But it's a great system, and I'm a field person. I spent my life in the field. I have moved to the regional office now, but we are here to serve, and I'm hoping you'll consider making better use of this database.
Good.
Mr. Ghostmaster.